Hey, it's, what is it, Wednesday? It's Wednesday night. I've done my chores, so you won't have to listen to the stove blaring in the background. I've freshly brushed my beard. It feels magical. I just flossed, which hadn't done that in a while. So there must be some Venus energies taking care of yourself. If that's Venus energy. Probably. Yeah, we're in Taurus season now, of course. Tending to the garden. The Garden of Eden. That is yourself. I had a cool day. It was cool. Pretty cool. I would call it cool. I got woken up at 6 a.m. by the manager of Cracker Barrel beating on my window, telling me, well, he took a couple times to wake me up, and then I crawled out of this side, walked out, and then I knew he was probably going to talk about me plugging in, and he was like, you can't do that. It's against the law. And I was like, I basically didn't say anything. I just unplugged my cord, wound it up, stuffed it away, climbed back in, and went to sleep. Tried to go back to sleep. He said that they had stuff cooking and it could kill the power. And I'm like, you're a moron, man. Like, this has a GFI outlet, so I literally can only blow this outlet. He was just a fat guy. He actually reminded me of the one guy I knew from Indiana that I used to work with. Although that guy was way cooler, so that's not... But they looked identical. It was hilarious. And then I went back to sleep several hours later. Probably, yeah. It was like 8. And I got woken up again to someone beating on my door window. This time it was the police. And there was 2 cop cars parked behind my van. And it was a black officer. No mask. He was like, you need to step out. And I was like, okay. Took me a minute to like find my bearings and then take the curtain down, and then I climbed, or actually I didn't even climb out, I just opened the door, and he said that I needed to leave, and I was like, okay. So then I shut the door, started doing my stuff, and then started the van, which actually almost didn't start because it was still like 30 degrees out. It was 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Obviously that guy was pissed from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. just seeing my van in the back of Cracker Barrel. But yeah, and then it took like 5 starts of the van. I was lucky the battery held up, because it would go like almost start and then just kill it. It's because one of the glow plugs doesn't work, so it doesn't heat the cylinders properly. Diesel problems. But luckily it started, and yeah. And then it took me a good 15 minutes to like clean up the van, at least, to get it drivable. I just heard a car drive behind the van. I haven't heard a single soul. I'm at another Cracker Barrel. And then as I backed out, they were like unloading some truck with just their slop that they serve there. And the manager was standing there with his mask on. And I just reached my pee bottle out the window and just dumped it as I drove away and looked at him. And I could just see the like, I don't even know the look on his face, but it was like, it was almost like I got him. Just like, it was almost like a, I didn't scream anything at him or yell. The old me would have yelled like, suck a cock or something. Something juvenile, but packs a punch. Yeah, then I drove to Planet Fitness and I sat there and I was like, I don't want to go to Planet Fitness. I was like, I want coffee. I deserve coffee after being woken up by the police. So I drove to a Starbucks, which is like my least favorite option. And they had a small fire, so they were closed. And I was like, well, that was a sign. But I couldn't tell if it was a sign not to get coffee or to go somewhere else. So then I found a local joint that I wanted to go to first, but it was just an extra 15 minutes. So I went there. It was like Coal Creek Coffee Company or something. Coal Street. I don't know. It was awesome. It was this little like brick shithouse building with a very homey decor. Although they needed more plants, would be my only critique. Tons of Edison bulbs. You've probably been to coffee shops like that. They had two like not butchy, but like pixie, I guess you would call it. Nerd pixie type girls working. Just like short bobbed haircuts. Like skinny figures, But they were nice. Cool. Super nice. So I worked on my fucking laptop for 4 hours there. It was awesome. I got a mocha, oat milk mocha with 3 shots. I resisted the urge to have another. I felt my sacral motor being like, that's good, have another. And I was like, that was good, I want another. I was like, I'm not over the edge yet. Like, I wasn't even close to the edge. I was like, I felt that, but not really. It wasn't like that zing that sometimes you get. But it was like a slow burn. It was great. It like ramped up. I was glad I didn't have any more. But then I went to jiu-jitsu and it was great. Actually, I went early on accident and I ended up doing the Muay Thai class, which made me feel like a dum-dum. They were just doing... in Muay Thai, if you've ever done striking, like, they call out numbers and you do the punches to correspond with the numbers. And then your partner takes turns. My lights are flickering. Usually that only happens when the voltage is low. But I know the voltage isn't low, so it's weird. Unless they're going out. I don't think so. Detour. But yeah, I ended up doing an hour of striking. Partnered with this woman that I found out later is like a mask Nazi. And if I would have known that, she wasn't wearing a mask, which is weird. But she's like a keyboard warrior on Facebook, berating people for not wearing masks, so could have been why she was so weird. Or because I sucked. It's just a lot of information. We did numbers 1 through 10 or 11. And it's just like each one is different. I mean, they're very similar, but there's too similar. And I don't know, like, this is the Bang Muay Thai system, which I've done Muay Thai before. I've done numbers before. Granted, I did struggle back then when I learned numbers, remembering them, but I felt like the system was this was almost too similar. And then she kept insisting on switching to southpaw, and I'm like, bro, I don't even have this in my regular stance, like... And she was kind of judgmental. Like, I could definitely see where the keyboard warrior-ness comes in. Because I was like, don't judge me for sucking. Like, get in jiu-jitsu after this, and we'll fucking even the playing field. But I mean, shit, it was fine. Whatever. It wasn't ideal. I don't know. It was just like, we could have just done, like, 2 combos and practiced that for a long time instead of like 11 combos. Actually 22 combos, because then we threw in kicks at the end. And I was like, fuck, 22 combos? I'm not going to remember this. Considering when I don't even know exactly, it's not like instant when someone says jab, I'm like, oh yeah. Or cross, I'm like, oh yeah. Lead uppercut. What, back uppercut? Rear uppercut? I don't even know what that's called. And I'm trying to focus on my form because I remember some of the forms. I'm like throwing the hook, keeping my hands up, snapping them back, breathing. It's like a ton. It was good though, I guess. This is like the second or third time I've been called to do a Muay Thai class, or invited to do a striking class, so I guess It was the universe. But then jiu-jitsu after was sweet. The old guy, he's like, I don't know, man. He's got to be 60. Like an old Marine vet, probably. I don't know. An old vet. He's the gym owner, and he trains 10th Planet. And I was super surprised. Like, I figured he trained, but, like, when he got up and started throwing down rubber guard, and then he started throwing double bag, which, if you don't know what that is, it just requires a lot of hip flexibility. You have to, like, grab your own feet around someone's body, and it's, like, I can barely do it, and I have long legs, which generally is easier, kind of. But yeah, so we went over, he showed some cool techniques that I've never seen. That was dope. And then the rolling portion was cool. Oh, and this kid I met on Instagram before, he messaged me like last night saying, oh man, you were in my gym, man, I missed you. And I was like, I'll be there. And he showed up, and he was cool as fuck. He had a beard. Also had a cat. Just also smoked weed and did psychedelics. So it's like, check, check, check. We're friends. And he did jiu-jitsu. It's like, whoa, could be best friends. And it was cool because then, like, knowing him, everyone else opened up to me too. Like, they would have eventually, but, like, that was an in. It was cool. Talked about ayahuasca, DMT with other kids. One kid claimed that he was on acid, which I could see that. He was a weirdo in a good way. But yeah, I'm actually tired. I feel pretty tired right now, so it's only like 1:30. But I'm stoked to keep training. Although, do I do more striking? I don't know, I'd rather do bag work or something. Something where I don't have another person judging me for sucking. I don't know. It made me want to do more striking in a way, I guess. I just remember it being like cardio fucking killer. But this was different. There was like no cardio until the very end. It was like nothing. Plus, I feel like it'll get my like decision making process quicker. Because like you can't think when you're striking. You just have to throw it. Like when I would think is when it would go wrong. But then I would be throwing punches and I would be like, I know these are wrong. Like I know there should be a hook in here and I know there should be an uppercut. I'm just throwing jab, cross, jab, cross. It also made me appreciate how like MMA fighters or just like strikers in general, like their technique is like you don't want to go toe to toe with those guys on the feet. Yeah, right. So I either learn striking or learn wrestling. There'll be wrestling class, I think Friday, so I'm more inclined to wrestling, but or learning both. I just wanted to share all that with you, and till we meet again.